Hello and welcome. I'm Andy Taylor and I'll be talking about the resource planner and the Wallboard modules in ShireSystem. While resource planner can be used without Wallboard's module does require the resource planner. So first of all, let's take a look at the resource planner. First of all, I'm going to use this icon here to toggle full screen. It hides some of the icons used elsewhere in ShireSystem. Gives me a better view of my system. And then I'm going to go to Group on Assigned To. This allows me to choose particular resources, so our engineers, members of staff, teams, or subcontractors, just by ticking in the boxes here. And I can search for them. And then by using the filter button at the bottom, it will change the view to show, in this case, these three people. On the right hand side, I can change from, in this view, day to work week to full week, month, timeline, and so on. On the left, I can change which actual work week I'm looking at using the back button, the forward button, or the drop down there to choose a particular day to be included on my view. Furthermore, I can right click on here and change the size of each of these available work slots. So I can go to 60 minutes, I can get a full 24-hour period shown on the left-hand side, down to individual 5-minute slots if I really want to go into that much detail. You will notice there are white areas and blue areas on here. The white areas are areas that have been set up as available work times, so they're on shift. As you can see, Aaron, Albert, and Sue all have entirely different shifts at the moment. These are set up in our shifts and non-availability section up here. We'll get onto that one. Group on Subject allows me to take work subjects, assets, locations, and contacts, and add them into the list. And if I add this hand pallet truck in, I can see the work orders for this particular asset. And there's a work order there against the asset, and the same work order here against Aaron Smith, who's going to go and do the work. It's also very easy to remove individual subjects. In this case, go back to just my three people. We have the ability to filter to a particular location. So I can look for our production hall and just see the work orders being done by these three people in that area. If I leave this blank, then it will be all locations shown. Filter work type, if I leave this blank, it is going to show me all the different work types, but I can select individual ones and then just show those particular work types on here. Ungenerated work. This work order here has just suddenly shown up, and this is a weekly work order. It's also automatic, so it has yet to be generated into actual work. So I can make sure that none of my work I'm moving around goes over that particular work order. Show closed work orders now brings up in grey these work orders here that have already been signed off during this time period. Right-clicking against a particular slot on here also allows me to create an individual work order, in this case for Albert Miller, to be started at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the 24th. I've just got to fill in my usual information. And that there puts down a couple of hours of the work for Albert to do on that time on that day. We can do the same thing against work subjects by right-clicking against them against a time slot. It will raise a work order with that as the work subject, not obviously as the person to do it. Now, assign and schedule. This allows me to click and drag work orders onto our working area here. So all these do not have a team, they do not have a person or a contractor assigned to them. Now, as this can be quite a long list, we have got some options up here to tick, which will limit the shown work orders to the selected staff, their teams, trades. And we can even look at their locations as well. So these are the only work orders that can be done by this group of people. And all I have to do is click, drag, and drop a work order into a time slot. I can very easily see who has or hasn't got space to do work. Also allows me to move things around for a different time or a different day for the same person. So I can move that one simply by clicking and dragging. I can also extend work orders where necessary, or reduce them if I want them to take less time. Any work order that goes into a period of non-availability, so if I just drag this one down, it then warns me that I'm moving it outside of their agreed work hours. I can continue and allow it to overlap, or click no, depends what I want to do. I can print this planner off. And in this case, it's going to show me the 3 people I've selected and day by day what work is planned for them and when. I can also email out changes or cancel them all at the same time. I don't need to do it one by one, although that is an option within the work orders. Now, the setup for this is done in the shifts and non-availability area. 4 elements to this: the core staff hours. Allows me to set up generic hours that will be applied to any resource unless they have a shift applied which will take precedence. So if I take a look at this one, this is set up for a 7-day period. It doesn't specify the weekday names, just the numbers. And there we go, we've got 5 days of 9 till 5 and then 2 days off. So when that's put on the system, everybody will get 9 till 5, days 1 to 5, and then 2 days off, unless we put a shift against them. To create a shift, we simply need to go into here under shifts. And if I take a look at blue shift here, this has been set up again with day numbers rather than names. So I can see we actually have a 14-day cycle here. Day 1 being 6 in the evening till 6 in the morning. That continues the same until day 7, which is day off. And then day 8 starts at 6 in the morning till 6 in the evening. 13 and 14 are days off. And the reason for those being numbers and not names is when we go to apply a shift to a resource. All I've got to do is choose my engineer, my team, choose the shift I want to apply to them, and specify which day we want this to start from. So I'm going to have this one start for me next week. If it's going to end after a particular time, I can put the date in there as well. If it's just going to continue until otherwise specified, I'll leave it blank. I can now specify if I want which day of that 14-day pattern is going to be the first day as of the 26th. So if I'm starting this on day 7 on the 26th, I then click apply, and that's applied that shift to me. Now to show what's happened, I will take out Albert and add myself in. Now you can see this week 9 till 5, Monday to Friday. And if I move over to next week, you'll see the new shift pattern has taken effect. We have the ability to put non-availability in, so leave courses and so on. I just need to choose who it is I'm going to be putting on there. What day and time does this non-availability start? And when does it finish? Now in this particular instance, this period that I've booked off for Aaron, he's got some work orders in there, so it's going to warn me about that. I will continue. And that puts this lovely purple area in for me. I can now deal with these work orders that obviously need moving out to somebody else or to a different day or time for Aaron. And again, I may want to email these options out. All these changes are going to filter into the other areas of the system, such as the work order list and, of course, our wallboard. The wallboard module. This takes information from elsewhere and displays it on a series of boards, which can be displayed on a screen somewhere or multiple screens around your site or sites. We can swap from one screen, rather one board, to another at a predetermined time period, and just leave them up there and they will update themselves, changing from one to the next. I can add in boards that have been shared with me by other people just by clicking on there and adding in these boards. I can create new ones very easily. All I've got to do is create new board, give it a title, a subtitle if I wish, and decide whether or not I'm going to share this with other people. I can also put some filtering against my board. And so anything that's displayed on here which will pick up this filtering, I don't need to change to say everything wants to be about Warrington. This will always show Warrington stuff. So add tiles. I want to add in work orders by origin, by status, and by trade. If I wanted to add multiple tiles in with the same data, but then change each one, I can add in multiples. It's now added them in, but I can change their position. I can also change their size. I can edit each individual one. In this case, I can even change the way the tile looks. I save the board, all those changes will then be recorded on here, and that's what my board will look like. Change mine to rotate every, in this case, minute. Select viewing mode, and in a minute's time, that will change over to the next board in the sequence. While this is on here, though, I can highlight the area, in this case, scheduled work orders, and by putting the mouse over it, I can see that actually there's 46 work orders. In progress 8, 1 new. 51 have come from the scheduler, and so on. If I click on that coloured section, it's now going to take me to a list of work orders, and you can see there it's filtering from the wallboard. I can now clear that and go back to my full list. In the case of putting contacts on here, in this case my maintenance team, I can actually see who's on shift, when they're next on shift, how many work orders they've currently got on hold, how many are outstanding, which current jobs they've got. I can then use that to go to that individual work order if I need to. So depending on who's viewing the wallboards, it is possible to have it quite interactive. Now, if I just bring up another view, this particular login is an account that's set up just to be a wallboard viewer. So this is what we can set up, display on somewhere, and leave it running. Because they're a wallboard viewer, it won't be quite as interactive as if I'm a full account user. We still have the ability to create boards for them, have them share boards with other people, or use other people's shared boards. Each one of these boards, or each board that belongs to me, I should say, can be edited. If it's not one of mine, I can't edit it. So in this case, work orders on Warrington, I can edit, it's one of mine. That brings us to the end of this particular webinar. Thank you very much for listening.